And a very busy Tuesday night of news, and welcome. I'm Tom Hain.
And I'm Marissa Mitchell. Tonight, election results are coming in. You can find them scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
One of the races people are watching so closely is the race for Georgia's next governor. On the Republican side, let's put up the numbers. With 78% of the precincts reporting, Cagle with 39% of the vote wasn't able to cross that magic 50%. Brian Kemp with 26% and Hunter Hill with 18%.
And on the Democratic side, Stacey Abrams got the Democratic nomination tonight with 76% of the vote over Stacey Evans. We know that some 78% of precincts are reporting there. And with that win tonight, it could possibly put her on the path to becoming the first black female governor in the nation.
All right, Deidre Dukes is with the Stacey Abrams campaign right now. Deidre, a lot of excitement there tonight.
That's right. Some of Stacey Abrams' supporters are still gathered here tonight. Stacey Abrams declining to talk to reporters this evening after she delivered her remarks, saying she was going to spend some time with families, saying that there was the strong possibility that she would be making herself available to media beginning tomorrow morning. She delivered a rousing victory speech here, speaking for about 20 minutes when she took the stage around 10 p.m. this evening, surrounded by supporters, family, and friends also joining her on stage. Now, she actually declared victory via Twitter at 9 o'clock this evening, and then about an hour later, as I said, taking to the stage, giving what sounded a lot like a campaign speech, because she took the opportunity tonight to really lay out her vision for Georgia, her leadership, what she would do if she was elected the next governor.
And I know you know that as our state's rich and complicated history courses through our memories on nights like tonight, when the unexpected becomes the truth, it reminds us of who we are, how we've stumbled, and how we flourished. And it commands that we embrace our obligation to live up to Georgia's tradition of pride and of promise, but to always remember our very complex roots.
Now, earlier this evening, a campaign spokesman for the Abrams campaign told me that during the first leg of this race, that Abrams actually reached over 1 million voters. And they believe that this coalition of voters from across the state, from diverse backgrounds, will lead her to victory come November. And that's the latest here at the Abrams Election Watch Party at the Sheraton Atlanta. I'm Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
I look forward to working hard to make sure that Georgia turns blue and that Stacey Abrams is the next governor of Georgia. Campaigns are tough. She fought tough, and so did we, and she was victorious, and I will support her.
Meanwhile, Abrams' competitor Stacey Evans conceded the race around 9 o'clock tonight. With the majority of precincts now reporting, Evans came away with about 1/4 of the Democratic vote. Evans had been competing with Abrams to become the state's first ever female governor.
Now moving across the aisle, we're looking at a Republican runoff.
Lieutenant Governor Cagle and Secretary of State Brian Kemp will face off in July for the GOP nomination for governor.
And let's listen to Cagle, who spoke not too long ago. Morse Diggs covering the Cagle campaign. Morse, in Gainesville, a lot of excitement where you are as well.
Yes, I'm here with the Lieutenant Governor, and he is telling me that he's happy with the numbers that we've seen tonight. And he said that while his brand of conservatism may not be what you've seen in some of those campaign commercials, you told me that you're not going to change. Your message is going to be consistent.
Well, we don't change who we are. I am a fiscal conservative, but I'm also a social conservative, and that message is not going to change. Obviously, we were in a position of the front runner. We had a lot of arrows that were coming at our back in a very crowded primary, but now that it is a two-man race, we're very excited about where we are. All of our polling showed us anywhere from 38 to 42, so expectations were met tonight, and I believe expectations will also be met in July.
Now let's talk again about what just aired a few minutes ago. Brian Kemp said, characterized you as Mr. Money, special interest, and he says, I got the support from the average guy. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think tonight it showed that I had a lot of support from the average guy as well. Listen, I came from nothing. I was raised by a single mom. Nobody's ever given me anything. I've had to work hard for it all. And I promise you, public service is a calling, and I feel that calling on my life. And I will tell you that we're going to continue to carry our message all across Georgia into July. And I'm excited about, sharing more about our vision. And this 9 weeks just gives us 9 more weeks to talk about the good things and the good things that are happening in our state, but how we can also improve.
I joked with you earlier that maybe in some households we could see a split in the household where you might get the mom, the so-called soccer mom. Brian Kemp might get the father in the pickup. Could it come down to that?
Well, I don't know that this campaign really is about who's got the biggest truck or the biggest gun. I believe it really is about the future of our state and making sure that they understand who the consistent conservative leader in this race is that has delivered time and time again.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor. And he says he'll have the money to wage a strong campaign. Live from Gainesville, I'm Morse Diggs, Fox 5 News.
He's going to need it as that campaign begins anew. Morse, thanks. News Edge anchor Denise Dillon joining us now live from the Republican frontrunner Brian Kemp's campaign.
And Denise, it looks like those controversial gun ads may have actually worked.
Yeah, that's what it does appear. And Brian Kemp actually said the same thing. At least it got him noticed in a controversial way, at least. Now, they are definitely celebrating here in Athens. Just moments ago, there were cheers from the crowd when Brian Kemp took to the podium right behind me, saying that voters have sent a message that they are just fed up with a career politician at this point, or they are ready to elect someone as governor who will work for the hard-working Georgians. Also, I talked to him earlier, about an hour ago, in his war room, where I did ask him about those controversial ads that have been playing in recent weeks, and he said, you know what, he's proud of them. It shows that he's not afraid to fight. He's not afraid to stand up for what he believes in. At that point, we knew there was a very good chance for a runoff. I asked him if we'd be seeing more of these ads in the coming weeks, the 9 weeks leading up to the next election. And he said, well, you know what? Let's get through tonight, and then we're going to start planning our strategy. But I have a feeling there's a really good chance that we are going to be seeing more of those. I also asked him, or let me just say that he also told the crowd here tonight that now is the time to fight even harder. It's time to double down and really show his support, get out there, encourage others to vote, because he thinks that this is the time to brace for negative ads that could come as early as the next 24 to 48 hours from them. He also thanked his supporters and said for the next 9 weeks he's going to need their help, he's going to need their resources, their talents, and he's going to need their prayers. Reporting live in Athens, Denise Dillon, Fox 5 News.
Well, he ran a provocative campaign, and it looks like it paid off for him. Denise, thanks. In the race for lieutenant governor on the Democrat side, Sarah Amico looks like she'll avoid a runoff, came in with 55% of the vote to Triana James's 45%. And on the Republican side in the race for lieutenant governor, take a look how it played out here. David Schaefer, not so far at least, avoiding a runoff with 80% of the vote in at 49% to Jeff Duncan's 26%. Marissa?
And Tom, tonight we know which Democrat will be in the running for Secretary of State. We have John Barrow with 53% of the vote, with 80% reporting winning that race. And then on the Democratic or Republican side, rather, it will be Brad Raffensperger with 35% of the vote. Still waiting for those numbers to come in. No clear winner just yet, with 80% of those polls reporting in that race. Now we're going to go back to Tom. He's here now with Phil Kent and Theron Johnson from the Georgia Gang for more analysis on tonight's elections. Tom.
All right, Marissa, thanks. And gentlemen, what a night it has been. Phil, I want to begin with you on the Republican side. We just heard from Casey Cagle and the Brian Kemp campaigns. This is going to be an interesting runoff because both guys are going going to have to spend a lot of money and appeal to those voters who voted for people like Hunter Hill and the others in this race. So how do either one of these guys stand out? I mean, when you look at the map here and you see the sea of red that went for Cagle, it simply wasn't enough to push him over that 50% magic number.
That's right. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering now until the July runoff, and you're going to have Casey Cagle trying to reach out and build a coalition. Same thing with Brian Kemp. One of the problems, though, that Casey Cagle has is that a lot of his opponents ran against Casey Cagle. So he's got to ensure that his turnout is there that he had tonight.
Phil, real quick, Brian Kemp did run a provocative campaign. Does Casey Cagle take note of that and kind of amp up the energy here as we go along?
I think he does have to amp up the energy. The TV ad campaign that Brian Kemp did was fantastic over the last 10 days, and that put him into the runoff slot. Now Cagle has to differentiate himself from the others as to why he should be the gubernatorial nominee, and Kemp is going to have to reach out to the others who were defeated to help him.
Theron, let's take a look at the Democrat race. It was a commanding lead for Stacey Abrams tonight. I mean, when you look at this map, almost the entire map is blue for Abrams. She won a commanding 78.5% of the vote. Stacey Evans, in her home country up here, did pull out a few counties. But what did you make of tonight's race and Abrams' ability to put out that wide appeal to voters?
Well, I just must state the obvious. I mean, this was complete dominance by the Abrams campaign. I mean, you heard her talk about this earlier, that she started with trying to register a lot of new voters, try to go to a lot of what we call sporadic voters that usually don't come out in the primary. So clearly her campaign was focused on that. Now what she's got to do tomorrow morning, she's got to rally Democrats. And so she's got to get on the phone, she's got to call a lot of people to get them on board with her. And I was very happy to hear Stacey Evans tonight throw her full support behind Stacey Abrams.
Evans went after a lot of independent voters, a lot of women voters, as Abrams did as well, and a lot of left-leaning Republicans. How does Abrams now pull those kind of voters into her tent? Because she has to do that in Georgia.
Well, she does, but also she's got to continue to solidify the base. And so I think she's got to go back to them with a message that clearly resonated with them tonight. And then I think over time, where the Republicans are sort of battling it out into July, you know, Abrams' campaign and Democrats will be able to get our footing together, raise money, and be competitive in November.
Theron, Phil, terrific analysis tonight. What a race in the gubernatorial election.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Marissa